Hey everybody, welcome back to another Galactic channeling. This is Rob Gauthier, the ET Whisperer. I hope you guys have really been enjoying these weekly uploads of the Galactic channelings. I found that they bring a lot of good insight for a lot of different perspectives and a lot of unique information that we haven't found. I also want to say thank you guys for supporting the channel by doing the likes, comments, and subscriptions. It has so drastically changed the algorithms and the growth of our channel. You would not believe it, so I want to thank all of you guys for doing that. This specific race that's talked about is actually some ancestors of some beings that we know. The aquatic Sirian beings and some Pleiadian humanoid beings both took their genetics and connected to this being, and this being lives out in Puppis constellation, and that I have no clue where that is, but apparently it's around here, and that race specifically seems to know a lot about humans. They're a very cool race, and they share a lot of good stuff, so I just hope you guys enjoy it. And if you want to check out anything about our Patreon, just wait till the end of the channeling is done and check out our Patreon stuff. I love you guys all so much, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for helping this channel grow the way that I feel it deserves and the way apparently all of you feel it deserves. So thank you guys for putting in that extra energy and work. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you on the other side.
Greetings to all, this is Aridif, that is A-R-I-D-I-F, and this is its spell. We understand. All of you desire to co-create with yet another race in the galactic collective consciousness. But before diving in to that co-creational conversation, we first must express the two things that we have always expressed. First, above and beyond all things that are expressed in this day, to know, to feel, and to perceive that you are loved in our perspective is of the utmost importance. Secondly, it is our greatest excitement, and within the same form of great excitement in which we co-create with you, and of course not only as a singular consciousness, but as a greater form of collective as well. Now, we will first express that the race that we are here to share for the conversation of co-creation in this moment would be known to all of you through the Puppis constellation, and the name of this race specifically is Poin-Ta-Trdree, and of course this race holds a great deal of information about the human co-created form of Sirian consciousness, because they too are hybridized beings co-created from both Pleiadian and Sirian genetics, and of course, now living in the Puppis constellation, they are co-creating from their own desire, from understanding of their own relatives, co-creation with human collective consciousness. Now, of course, when you perceive these beings, they are quite aquatic humanoid in nature, and of course co-create from a level of understanding genetics of humans through the genetics of their cells, and the entity that we bring forward is one representative within that race. One moment, we will connect you.
Greetings and salutations. We know about humans because we know about our ancestors. We share much of the same genetics. Although we did not grow up like you, we understand you. We had a very easy life as children growing in animal form and third density form, but we also had great teachers. The race of the Sirian aquatic beings and the Pleiadian humanoid beings came together in hybridization and gave the genetics to an animal race that existed on our planet. Our planet is an oceanic planet, and it's a very beautiful planet. It has only 1/27th of the land mass that humans have, but those were uninhabited for most of the time. The first race that was able to come on land and live in waters, the race of beings that both became hybridized with the genetics of the Sirian parents and our Pleiadian parents. So it was a very interesting life. At that point, it was a very vicious race for evolution. Many beings within our planet would cannibalize each other and their selves, and it was not very hard for that to happen because the planet teemed with life. Once that teeming of life and all of the death that came with it were a possible part of our own equation, that's why we moved to land. We were raised in very shallow parts of the oceans upon our planet, and our oceans are over 3 times deeper at average than the deepest part of human water, and some places over 8 times deeper. And these places were the most terrifying. These places were the places where we could not go. We never learned to go to those parts until we had become quite advanced with our own understanding of technology. And once we did, our technology still played a part of victimized from the beings that were in the depths of our ocean. And so it was a very unique opportunity and ability to be able to see the life that we had never seen before. Even now, there are still parts of our planet unexplored by technology, but consciously now we know it's there. Our telepathy has been sharpened and developed very well. And when we had a sharpened ability of our telepathy, and were able to communicate with many of the more advanced races, and we started working quickly towards the revolutionization of our entire planet. Many of the beings who had begun their 3rd density start after we had already nearly completely entered 4th density. Then we were able to help them start learning to communicate better and starting to use basic tools and technology. This is a fascinating aspect of our own history, and one that I tell you because humans did not evolve much differently than we did. And there was a vicious planet full of life with many different races that would kill one another and eat one another and use the energy from others. And then a race of beings came to change you and shift you. And there were races who raised you, there were races who helped you, and brought in information, and shared genetics, and taught you. But it was a very different story for humans. There were betrayals of certain races because the genetics inside of you didn't like them. There were also wars that other races brought to your planet and caused even greater division between the human beings. We know your history better than most humans may know your own history. And this is what is fascinating to us, that we are able to have a much easier time growing, but we still understand the basic parts of your hardships. We still understood the basic part of how strongly that human race fought in order to survive and to evolve. Fascinating it is. There's much more to tell you, but we also want to tell you about our society now. Our society now is built with telepathy and technology in equal parts. Technology that comes from external technology built and external technology created. We use the mind and our intuition and our innovation to create these things. But then we also have technology internally that our Sirian and Pleiadian parents taught us. They taught us meditation, they taught us astral projection, they taught us telepathy, communication from telepathy, and even some communication in verbals. Would be a very small part of how you would hear us. A very small way of how you can talk to us. This is part of our language that was built through the parenting of the aquatic Sirian beings and our humanoid Pleiadian beings who parented us and brought us out of our own need to evolve. So it was a perfect harmony. And through the perfect harmony that we have now, we want to share some things with you. much of you can start tuning into our vibration by connecting with the water elements. The elements of water are beautiful. They are easy for you to connect with, even in parts of your earth that water is not so abundant. Most humans live in waterous regions or near waterous regions, but there is still a large population that lives in desert areas, or areas that feel more void of water. So use water as a philosophy. Take yourself to the nearest area where water is standing and connect with that. Go into a bathtub and fill it and lay inside of the water and think about the oceans, rivers, and ponds and lakes that you have there. If you cannot reach a body of standing water and filling an entire tub is not useful for you, then go to a place where you can feel the vibration of water. Water is easy to vibrate with energy, and water can hold the energy of itself more abundantly than any other thing on your planet besides your crystals. Freeze water, use ice, and use the crystal information upon the ice, and use that as your guidance. Now, there is a difficult part of being a human that relates to not knowing much of your history. The history is something that can be summed up quickly. You are naturally evolving. Another race came and said, we need you for our own purpose. And humans could not agree or disagree, but they gave you their genetics. Now other races said, we don't like the fact that this race changed genetics, so some races tried to change them back, but didn't have enough blueprints from the original DNA, so they added their own DNA. And then some others just said, well, we don't like the new DNA mixture, so we'll try to change it to be more like us. And some beings did this with a great intention inside of their hearts, and other beings did it with not such a great intention. And that became problematic. In fact, it caused some problems on your planet between races. And after all of the races stopped bickering and fighting, and one of the races that were more dominant militarily said, no more will happen here. There will be no more human interaction until they are ready for it. And if you can get past us, you can communicate with them. I never needed to get past. I was able to just telepathically communicate with you. And you can telepathically communicate with us. It's easy. Feel the water vibration. Think about the area of the sky that you're thinking about when you hear our location. Look at the night sky and feel water in your hands and just connect to us. Say our name out loud and connect to us. Visualize a combination of all of the things that you can to connect with us and just connect with us. I cannot wait for any of you to connect with me. It will be such a happy day. I would be one of only a few thousand in our race that's looking for human communication. So there is a 1 in 3,748 opportunity that it will be me when you connect. But if you intend to connect directly to me, it will help you find me even better. I want to give you the gratitude that I have for you humans being as strong as you have. It's not easy to live not knowing your history and still have a positive outlook for your future. Still not knowing what you can do when you are communicating with other beings and who you trust or who you can't trust. But you still do it with happiness. You still do it trying to find the answer. That is an admirable thing, my friends. I want to say that it is a happy time and occasion, and I want to say that I am very proud that we share genetics. We are distant cousins, and I am loving that. Goodbye, my dear old friends. Goodbye. I wanted to thank everyone in our Patreon who helped support me have the free time to do the extra channeling here. If you're interested, go to ET Whisper Patreon, which is patreon.com/ETWhisper. $22 a month, you get access to 2 different channelings per month. One where everyone sends in ideas, we put it in a poll and vote for it. The second is a Q&A. Everyone sends in their questions and their desire of Aridif or Treb answering it, and then we ask the questions, and then we go through them randomly, and whoever's questions get picked goes there. So if you want to be a part of that to get access to that extra stuff, and you want to help support us get more content out on YouTube, the link is in the description. Love you guys. Thank you guys for your support, and I'll see you on the other side.